This is my
Hello.
introduction.
First, I would like to thank you, everyone, for attending this meeting. Thank you for being there. During this presentation, we will discuss about the new IT strategy that we believe it needs to be put in place to overcome or to cope with the high growth our organization has been experiencing this last time. We all know that we have been doing very well these last years, and our business have been substantially growing from years to years now, which is, by the way, a really good news. However, the result of this is we have experienced a high increase on the activity on IT perspective, so we need to adapt the IT needs, which are constantly growing in order to serve the business in the efficient way. To achieve this service or to be able to adapt ourselves in a seamless way, we have been struggling the last month, and now we believe it is time to think about something new, something different than how we have been performing so far. And also, we have been alerted about some performance issue on our servers during some peak activity and connection period, which was affecting the end user's experience. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have been working these last weeks about a new approach on our IT infrastructure, which will be basically based on cloud computing. Okay, my presentation will be articulated as follows. First, we will present the situation I have mentioned in my introduction. After this presentation, we will describe and explain what is cloud computing. So, presenting the cloud computing capabilities, the advantages and disadvantages of moving to the cloud and having our IT based on the cloud solution. Then we will analyze economic implication of this moving to the cloud. What will be the return on investment, the cost of acquiring a cloud solution versus IT on-premise based our data center. And we will then go into a SWOT analysis. A SWOT stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat. We will comment it a bit more deeply in the corresponding section. And finally, after all this topic will be discussed, we will provide you with our recommendation and the conclusion based on what will be discussed in the previous sections. In this slide, we will present our business context. So the context of our company is the following. Our company is a retailer and has more than 20 physical stores across the country. We also have a website where our customers can log in and access to the account and make their orders online. So our traditional business so far has been divided into the following. So it's like 90% of physical store versus 10% for online orders. However, the expansion of internet and the success of large online websites such as Amazon has changed the way people currently behave. And we have been experiencing during the last weeks and months a huge growth in terms of online orders. We have been able to cover this new peak of connection and system usage because our structure was size high enough to support this and had enough contingency to support a potential peak of connection. Even if during this period we have discovered several issues that we need to address. Among these issues, the main one is the fact that we don't have enough information about the future needs in terms of server sizing, IT infrastructure, since we cannot foresee the user connection into our website. So we always end up to cover this situation, we had to always order new servers, and the process of ordering new machine is in turn is really long and can take weeks or even months. And when the server are delivered, it's always sometimes too late, or the need has also changed and need to always being adapted. So as you can imagine, it always is now really difficult to follow the and to align into our IT to the actual business need. And we also realize by measuring the server usage that during some low activity period, the server are underutilized, which means that they are not really doing anything. We will see in the next section that we have a large number, a huge number of servers, and during low activity, those servers are not doing anything, and it's just we believe that we are just losing money because we invested on those servers, and during idle time they are not used at all. So we believe that it is a loss of money, a waste of money that we need to cover. And given the large number of the server, this is really an asset of our company, and those servers need to be maintained and to ensure that they're always up and running. So we have hired a huge number of IT people in charge of managing our data center. So we have acquired a data center for obviously, to store those servers, install the power, network, cooling system, and so on. All that should be maintained by our IT engineers, system engineers, network engineers, power, and so on. And we know that now online orders is becoming critical to our business, since giving the projection, online orders will be in the next coming months equal or even more than physical stores order make in our stores. So it just need to this is to really emphasize in the fact that we need to be performant, to perform well in the way our server will serve the online activity of our business. So the problem now with this situation is that we have been in not in proactive mode, but we're reacting in the reaction of the market. So now we need to adopt something to change our behavior, the way we serve our business. And our IT staffing for currently we have a big number of people that we have been hiring this last month or years to cover these needs. And IT is not really our core primary job. And now the IT staffing represents more than 40% of our overall headcount, which we believe is too much. So we think we need to focus on our primary activity, the core business, which is selling products and services over the internet or across our stores we have in the country. So this has been we have realized that, and our CEO and CIO had a meeting recently where the CIO was asked, to present his new strategy, which will bring a better visibility on the infrastructure provisioning as well as the IT budgets management. I belong to the IT department, and I have been appointed to help the CIO making this study, and this is why I'm doing this presentation today. In the next next phase of the presentation, I will go through the current exact situation that we have, and then bring this more insight in terms of what we are proposing. This slide describes the increase and the number of servers in terms of infrastructure we have been facing the last 5 weeks and the projection for the next coming 8 weeks. As you can see here, we have identified the following server type. We have the database server, the non-database server, the object storage, NAS storage, and SAN storage. And we have here currently highlighted in the picture, currently we have 20 database servers, 200 non-database servers. We have for object storage, we have 200 terabytes, 500 terabytes for storage for NAS storage, and 1000 terabytes of SAN storage. The database server that we have are a big server of 16 core and 128 gigabytes of RAM. And we have 50% of this database are running on the Oracle, and the other 50% runs MySQL database. Regarding the non-database server, they are medium-sized server, which are basically 8 cores and 64 gigabytes of RAM of each. I'm not really going to go into detail, but the picture here is to depict the fact that we have now a huge IT asset made of many big and medium servers for database, non-database, storage, and so on. And as you can see in the picture, during the next 8 weeks, this number will almost double, which means that we need to continuously invest in our current data center, acquire more and more server, or acquire bigger server, and so on. IT budget is going to become critical for our business. So we expect this number to grow in a very large proportion, and we have this KPI or our indicator, which are made of these five aspects: database, non-DB, object, NAS, and SAN storage, are going to be growing because to align into the business. So the investment is going to be huge in terms of our IT. This is the reason why we really believe that we need to have this business study, to have this business case, to ensure that we will have the right response or the right reaction to support the coming challenge in terms of serving our online store and online orders for the customers. In the previous slide, I presented the challenge that we are facing now, and the limitation of the current IT approach, which is based on our on-premise data center. So we realize now that we have reached into the situation where we need to think something else. Well, among those alternatives, one of the immediate that we believe that will be considered is the cloud computing. So what is cloud computing? So it's important to exactly understand what does this word or this expression cloud computing refers to. The formal definition of cloud computing is creating and use remote server over the internet instead of having them stored locally in our data center as we currently do. So this is completely different. Cloud computing states that we don't need to have our server anymore in-house, but we can use other servers stored in the cloud. But this is not the only difference. Cloud computing is this model that enables an on-demand access to a pool of configurable resources. This is more or less the definition given by the National Institute of Standard and Technology, NIST. So the cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable resources. These resources can be rapidly provisioned and released with a minimal management effort or service provider interaction. Extremely important, this definition. So what is the takeaway or are the takeaway here? The resources are available on the internet via a network. They can be provisioned rapidly, important, rapidly, with a minimum management effort. Perfect. So what does that mean? We don't need to order resources anymore. We just need to connect into the cloud provider and reserve or create a new server corresponding to what we need to have. So this is the approach of cloud computing. So we are going to speak a little bit about the different type of cloud computing approach. So we have software as a service, we have infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and other anything as a service. Well, what is software as a service? For the cloud computing, when it is based on software as a service, which means that we have a soft or it can be an ERP or CRM system that is installed on a server in the cloud, so that you don't need to install that or manage that anymore. Everything is provided. You don't need to have the server on site. You don't need to have the application or to maintain everything. All this service is provided through the cloud. Okay, a good example of that is Salesforce, which are high example of good CRM as SaaS systems. Then we have the infrastructure as a service. Infrastructure as a service is the cloud computing part, which will allow any company or any individual to have a server or a compute engine, which is basically server in the cloud. Then they can install their own application or install their own database and so on, just like they can do with on-site servers. The only difference is that they're not responsible on the servers, power, cooling, networking, and so on. Everything is managed by the cloud provider. You just need to install your application, your software on that infrastructure. Finally, the main one on cloud computing is platform as a service. Platform as a service provides an environment for developers where they can create or configure their own application. These are platforms such as DevOps, that work that way. But we are going to focus in this study, and we also have many other things like database as a service, mobile as a service, and so everything as a service currently. So basically, you can have everything as a service today. But what will be the focus of our study here will be infrastructure as a service, because we own our online software, our online store software. However, we would like to think about having these servers stored in the cloud instead of in our own premise data center. Good. Let's little bit mention the type of cloud that we can have. There are many types of cloud. It can be private, it can be public, or hybrid, which is a sort of mix between private and public. The difference between the private cloud is that both use the same technology. We didn't really mention the cloud technology here because we don't want to go into technical details. However, cloud computing use what we can call virtualization or hypervisor, which basically creates some virtual resources that are not really physical and so on. Well, we don't really. Once again, I'm not going to go into technical consideration here. So private and public, the difference is that the private is only for one single company, single organization, whereas a public cloud can be used by many different companies and organizations. And hybrid cloud really is a mix of both. For example, for some type of application can be in the public, but with a possibility to communicate with the private cloud for other applications storing, for example, sensitive data. The the most the thing the last point here that we believe is really important is a subscription model of cloud approach. So if we come back to the definition I gave to the cloud computing, we said that though the pool of resources are available and can be provisioned on demand, which means that the resource that you reserve or you provision in the cloud, you don't pay for that at, like if you were buying or ordering a server. So this model is called subscription, just as pay as you go service. You can compare this subscription model to a utility company like electricity. So when you consume the electricity, you pay for the amount of the electricity that you have used, not more, not less. This is exactly the approach. So when we were presenting in the previous section, we said sometimes our servers are underutilized, and other time we have peak of usage, and we don't have that flexibility to adapt our resources to the actual growth or the actual demand. In this subscription model, it will be easy to order or to provision new resources depending on the actual system usage. So we will see that in the next section how we will save the money and also better serve our customers connecting online. Let's in this slide quickly present the capabilities, the core capabilities provided by the cloud. We're not going, once again, this is not a technical presentation, so let's focus on the simple way of making this understandable by anyone. So we said for the cloud computing we have this on demand and the acquiring servers in the cloud computing is on demand and self-service. You don't need to contact any sales executives. Once you have an account into a cloud provider environment, you can order and it is on demand. Self-use, you can serve yourself to create new resources that you need. So this is on demand. The second important point is that it is broadly accessed by the network. So for as long as you have access to internet, you can access the cloud. You don't need to be in your company's network anymore to access to the servers. If you need to change anything to administer them, you can do that from any location as long as you have internet access. But obviously you need to have the access permission to do those things for sure. We mentioned resource pooling as well. Rapid elasticity, which is related to the previous one, so on-demand elasticity. So you can at any time order, acquire new server, change them, enlarge the capabilities, and so on. So it is really flexible. So you have this elasticity, but also flexibility to the staffing currently. So which means that you don't need to take the time to order this. If the server doesn't fit your need, you just need to decommission it and add a new one, create. So this gives us this flexibility and the elasticity. The velocity is related to the fact that it is really easy and fast to acquire a new server in the cloud. So, and the service can be measured. So, most of the provider, the cloud vendor or provider will give a way to actually see and monitor what is your usage, and so that you know what exactly you need to order to fit to you don't need to pay more than what you need, and it is really a fair way to do business. Well, you've understood that the new way of doing this is going to affect how ICT budgeting will be considered. We first had to acquire tangible assets or intangible one, like data center servers. We used to own our servers. We don't own them anymore in the cloud computing, which is going not to be. We will have to switch from a pure capex, as we had to do before, to an opex, so which is operational. In this case, we will again, in terms of flexibility, we can subscribe. So the subscription model will bring us this new way to pay every month or every year a certain subscription fees to our needs, and then the way to measure that will be completely totally related to the business activity. So it will be easier for us to really correlate the IT budget to the actual business, because they will grow together. If the business grows up, then the IT budget will go up, obviously. When for the period where we have a less business, the IT budget will be less. So we have the exact pure alignment between both. This is an advantage, of course. We will see in the next section advantages and disadvantages. And another something that we also expect is that, given these, we will see advantages in the next section. However, you can also already imagine that if you are able to provision server with this high simplicity, this velocity and agility and so on, we will be able to release new features on our website or release new product. The time to market will be reduced. Then we also gain in terms of benefit. This is something that we will consider in the next financial analysis, for example, even if we will see that it is sometimes hard to evaluate. Let's now discuss about advantages and disadvantages of cloud computing. So, as you can imagine, moving to the cloud will bring us a large number of advantages. The most important one is the economics part of moving to the cloud. So we said that adopting cloud will enable our organization to achieve, what we call economy of scale. What is actually economy of scale? By that we mean the cloud provider can offer computing capability at lower costs because they have large number of servers, and their staffing are also can also benefit from the fact that they are in charge of a huge number of infrastructure, and then the cost can be reduced. So only the economies of scale will allow you to have a better pricing in terms of hardware acquisition prices. This is the economic part of what. So, and in this case, we already mentioned that our capex or capital expenditure will be reduced consistently, and compared to the traditional on-premise solution that we currently have. And we will move from huge capex to almost no capex anymore, and use this new approach will be based on the OPEX. We explained that in previous lecture or previous section. And we can also mention the velocity and agility that we started explaining. So basically, we say that acquiring or configuring a new server is done it's currently will be run very fast compared to currently where all the process we said it could take weeks or months. Now it's just hours or even less if we have the right resources to actually set up the servers as we need, because those machine or this power are already available in the cloud. So as we said, this is a self-service. So we gain in terms of velocity and agility. By agility, we said okay, we can order new resources, release them when they are not needed anymore, and it can be changed every week or every month to really actually adapt the usage to the exact system load. Okay, so all this to say that a cloud platform will really use the resource and optimize the resource usage. Where sometimes we mention idle, or frequently when the resource is frequently idle, for example, if we don't need it, we will just decommission it and will not have to pay for that anymore. Okay, so in terms of we said agility, so rapid responsiveness. For example, the ability to quickly procure capacity from a cloud provider. Then we can quickly prototype and launch a new service to meet client needs and increase the revenue, of course. This is always about revenue. And we said it is easy to use, self-service interface. It will eliminate the need of intermediary to perform a manual task and so on. So we don't need manual task anymore. And in addition, upgrade is seamless to the end user, and this means that end user can use the latest technology with minimal or no effort. And by elasticity, so the disadvantages is the one that will enable organization to respond to peak and valley, which is basically adjusting to the IT footprint according to the business. We already mentioned that. And we have the scalability, availability, security, which are improved. Well, you can see here we discussed about the disadvantages, and you see that security also could also be a disadvantage. However, by security, we mean here that cloud provider had a large security organization, which are really composed of many skills that can proactively address potential security issue. So they have they can invest a larger budget than a single company can do. This is once again thanks to what we said, the economy of scale. It is easier for a cloud provider serving different organizations to invest in a strong security team that will protect all those organizations, because the cost is then divided or charged to the corresponding organization, indirectly charged, of course, because organizations are acquiring the subscribing for a package, and that package contains security, of course. And well, these are advantages. Now we have some disadvantages. For example, service disruption. We are not saying that cloud is not is less available than IT servers. The only thing is the impact. When the service is not there anymore, what happens? What happens? Because the internal IT does not have they don't have control of that, and this is related to the latest point, which is shift of control. So this, when the service is not available, or you need to have access, or if internet access is not there anymore, you don't have access to your servers. So this can be considered as a disadvantage of moving to the cloud. The other point here is the privacy. For instance, personal data privacy it's a really critical point for some type of company who don't want to share or to store a certain type of data into the cloud. So privacy here can be seen as a risk to storing data into the cloud. For example, they will have some cloud provider which are not really providing a dedicated installation or multi-tenant installation for some software as a service approach. For example, could be perceived as risky or more risky to store their data. And we also mentioned security. Okay, security is also a point in the way that if there's a cyber attack or security failure or security intrusion in the cloud, the impact will be huge because it will affect a large number of companies. But once again, it's always feeling than really actually than the reality, because in reality, as we saw before, cloud security teams are stronger and often stronger than a single on-site companies, even if those servers are stored and accessed over the internet. Okay. Well, the shift of control is also one of the most disadvantages that we currently see. It is not, let's say, an actual disadvantage in terms of how it will affect the business. This is related to the IT people or the IT managers. They want to control the infrastructure. But moving to the cloud, we've removed that responsibility from those population or from those people. And so in this case, we will see maybe later that we need to conduct moving to the cloud project. It's going to be change management system, change management project to sell this to those IT managers, because they're going to have less power, less resources to take care of or to change the way they're working. So all this needs to be conducted Okay, in this slide now, we will discuss about the economic analysis. Here we are talking about numbers. Okay, so at the right hand side, we have a small table here showing the result of the total cost of ownership calculated on Amazon. So for 3 years TCO, based on the number of servers that I described in previous slide, which were something like 20 database servers, 200 non-database, and so on, and NAS SAN object storage. So as you can see, we have currently the estimate of the current IT asset that we have based on what I have provided is $10 million. Okay, so we currently have $10 million. This is the cost for the 3 years, knowing that every 3 years you need to renew the servers and so on, some of the servers, because they are not, they need to be changed anyway. And moving to the cloud will cost almost $5 million for 3 years. Okay, divided by 3, we have the cost per year that we'll see in the table, in this analysis table. And we have in the cloud, we can see that the network, we will not invest in the network. The storage is less. The server cost is 2 times less, and the overall total is also half the amount of the current IT. This is only for the server provisioning. But as we will see, there are many other costs that we will not have to support anymore if you decide to move into the cloud. There will also be some additional costs. However, we will see in this table that in this analysis will bring us an opportunity to have to save money. Okay, so what these tables depict? So we have the lines here, the items. We have the data center cost, the real estate of the data center, because we own our data center. And to make the data center work, we need telecommunication, power, and cooling. Then we need to acquire hardware, hardware maintenance, software maintenance, IT staffing for data center, networking, NOC, server and storage engineer, application database, and cloud engineer. This will be for the cloud, the security engineers, and for the cloud, basically we'll have the cloud subscription, the hosting, professional service, and the risk for service legal agreement payment and service level agreement, and the security, the risk related to the security that we mentioned. And then we also mentioned the improve agility to business need growth revenue. We said, okay, normally we when we move into the cloud, we will have it will be more agile, in terms of releasing new products. So we have tried to give an estimate on that, what we have in this figure. The main point here is you will see that the first three lines are costing today, which are data center, telecommunication, and hardware. We don't have any related cost to those three lines regarding the cloud, so we will save money for that. And the next line, also you have the licenses acquisition. It will be less. We're currently spending $1 million per year for licenses, and we will have to spend less because we will not have to spend to acquire license for example, a pricing system and some dedicated antivirus and so on. We will not have to pay for that. The hardware maintenance is also going to be removed. Currently, we are paying $96,000 per year for hardware maintenance. Almost $200,000 for software, which will become $80,000. And then we have IT staffing for data center, $200,000, and $600,000 for network engineer. We will still need some networking once moved to the cloud because we need to set up our servers and ensure that they communicate the right way. The NOC will not be needed because it is provided by the cloud service. And the staffing for server and storage engineer will also disappear. The application and database will be reduced from 900,000 to 400,000. And we have additional related to the cloud engineers, which is not that much. We said we need to hire some cloud or train existing IT staffing to take care of this cloud solution management. We believe that it will be like $200,000, and the security engineer, since a lot of security work will be provided by the cloud. So if we just compare the total IT staffing for on-premise and cloud, we will see that we will move to 3,200,000 to 800,000. So we are already saving $2,400,000 for the IT staffing. So which is really, really important, as you can see. And then the next line, the next one is additional, that will be related to the cloud. So obviously we are in yellow. I just wanted to highlight the fact that we currently have 500,000 when for the hardware acquisition.
Whereas when we will be hosting on the cloud, it will just be 1,000,006, so it will be almost 2 times less. This is just the number that I've obtained using the cloud calculation that I've divided by 3 to have a yearly cost. And the cloud hosting professional service, because you need professional service. The cloud hosting professional service should be, no, we don't need on-premise. I don't know why we have it anyway. Okay, so it's going to be more, and the SLA payment will be less, because in the cloud we have the risk for, for service level, for continuity of the service is not high, since they have a very good level of service level in the cloud. And for the security as well, well, there will be more, because we will lose the control. Basically, this is the reason why we have something there. And finally, we believe that currently we will have like 5 million revenue increase related to moving to the cloud. So in total, we have 11 and 785,000 million, of dollar in terms of cost saving. So this is the cost saving. This is the benefit of moving to the cloud during the next years. So if you adopt this, obviously it's not going to be the case tomorrow, but we will need to plan that. As long as we will have this working compared to how we are doing things now, we will save 11 million per year. So you can just imagine the huge opportunity that we have here in moving to the cloud. Now, we will discuss about this SWOT analysis of, our company currently. So we will start by the strengths. As I said, our products have a good market positioning, and the customer satisfaction is always high. So we know that we are a leading company on our market segment, and our prices and our product are highly appreciated by the customers. So the strength is really what we have internally as a positive factor of our business, and our price policy is good, and we have a fair cash flow that will allow us to invest into IT and so on, or other projects. So basically, our pricing policy has been accepted, so we don't have any discrepancy on what we were thinking about the customer value pricing. So it was perceived as fair, and our customer accepted that pricing policy as something good, and we have created this adherence for the customers. So, but we have some weaknesses. So, well, we said our business is currently completely related, and will be more and more based on IT. However, our staff is not trained enough on new technology. Basically, cloud computing, our staffing is old school, and they don't know about new technology. So we need to do something for that. And we also mentioned the security. So currently we haven't really invested into the security, because so far the majority of our income was generated by the stores, not online. So we didn't believe that it was worthwhile or necessary to hire or train a huge security team to protect, from our servers from external threat. So this is also a weakness that we have identified during this study, and we will certainly propose solution regarding that. The next we'll discuss about opportunity. So the opportunities, in the SWOT, once again, opportunities and threat are external. So externally, we said, opportunity is can be related to the weakness. Because we said the cloud technology is bringing now more and more, the cloud technology is being adopted and can bring more agility, provide a better IT business support. This is something that we can really rely on. So these cloud technologies will bring an opportunity to better serve our business. So it's something that we need to consider, and because it will be important. And each technology also brings a necessary skill. So we are not like in a situation where we lack the skill that we can hire internally, or we can train ourselves to to support this moving to the cloud. So we have the skills, necessary skill into the market that we can rely on. They can be external consultant, or it could be people that we just hire internally to conduct this project. So we don't have any issue having this kind of skill set. We have that in the market. And the last one that we've identified is that we mentioned one of the strengths. So we said the IT budget spent will be saved. So we're going to move into the cloud. We'll save some budget, so we can spend that on launching new product line or adding new features in our website. But this is more or less, strength, not really opportunity. But I put it in opportunity because it will be related to product features and product and service, which could be external as well. And trade, say the trade is, so you mentioned this cloud computing technology, which is broadly utilized, and which means that our competitors are already doing things in the cloud. So this could really affect the margin that we have acquired, the gap between us and our competition can be reduced, or we need to keep this margin by reacting on this, because our competition has taken an advance on us regarding cloud computing, and we can perceive during the last period that they are really performing well or better than in the past. So we need to actually go there. And the other threat is regarding cyber attacks, because when a business is growing, it also attracts malicious people, and this is a threat that we need to react against. And not only react, because moving to the cloud, as we saw, we will benefit from this expertise that they already have. Most of the important serious cloud provider already have this security team. Okay, well, we have come into the conclusion. During this presentation, we said, okay, it's time to change something in the way we have been struggling to save our business. We presented what the cloud computing can bring to the business. So the SWOT analysis, the economic analysis was done. So now you see what will be the return on investment. You can imagine you have a good idea now, the agility and so on. And this will also give the opportunity to internal staff to train in new technologies, security, cloud, and so on. So everyone should be, this will be a win-win project where the company is going to win in terms of so budget, cost saving, agility, and so on. The current staff in-house that we have will train on new technology, or um, this is going to be an exciting project, and I really encourage you guys to think about that and to take the right decision. Thank you.